Red Bull finished on the podium in Belgium, but the result may have hidden one of the most painful truths of Max Verstappen's entire season. He qualified second. He took the lead at the start. He gave everything. And he still finished more than 11 seconds behind the winner. That is not a collapse in one race. It is the latest chapter in a problem that has followed Red Bull for months. A problem the speed traps could not explain. A problem the engine could not solve. A problem that kept returning in China, Japan, Austria, Silverstone, and now Spa. Because the RB22 is not slow in a straight line. It is slow where Verstappen needs trust. Medium speed corners, fast direction changes, long loaded sections. The exact places where aerodynamic grip matters most. And Belgium revealed the most dangerous part of all. Red Bull can still look competitive over one lap. It can still use a toe. It can still attack at the start. It can still reach the podium. But when the race settles, the car does not have enough usable grip to stay with Mercedes. Subscribe to the channel, because the final detail explains why this podium may have marked the beginning of the end for Red Bull's championship hopes. The Belgian Grand Prix did not begin like a disaster for Red Bull. That is important. Max Verstappen qualified second, only 0.317 seconds behind Kimi Antonelli's pole position. That was one of Red Bull's strongest relative qualifying performances in weeks. It looked like progress. It looked like the gap had closed. It looked like the upgrades were finally beginning to work. But the qualifying result came with an important detail. Verstappen received deliberate toe support from Isaac Hadjar. A toe can be extremely valuable at Spa. The car head punches a hole through the air. The following car experiences less resistance. That can increase straight line speed and reduce lap time. Think of cycling behind another rider. The first rider pushes through the wind. The second uses less energy to maintain the same speed. At Spa, where long full throttle sections matter so much, that benefit can be significant. Red Bull used it well. Verstappen delivered the lap. Second place was real, but the starting position created a dangerous illusion. It suggested Red Bull had found complete pace. The race would show something else. When the lights went out, Verstappen attacked. He took the lead from Antonelli. For a brief moment, the Belgian Grand Prix looked like the return of the Max Verstappen everyone remembered. Aggressive, precise, fearless. He had beaten Mercedes into the first phase of the race. Red Bull was ahead. The crowd had a reason to believe. Then Antonelli responded. The Mercedes recovered almost immediately on the Kemmel Straight. That moment was more important than the pass itself. Verstappen had won the start. Mercedes still had the stronger complete package. The Red Bull could create the opportunity. It could not control it. And that difference defined the entire afternoon. Verstappen never returned to the lead. He finished third, 11.586 seconds behind the winner. Again, that is not a humiliating result in isolation. Third place is valuable. It gave Red Bull its 300th podium in Formula One history. It allowed the team to celebrate a major milestone. Verstappen himself said he had given everything he had, and that third place was a good result. Those words were honest. He had extracted what the car could provide. But that is exactly why the final gap matters. If Verstappen gave everything, then the missing pace was not sitting inside the driver. It was sitting inside the car. That is the first truth Red Bull could not avoid. The team had the driver. It had the engine. It had a strong starting position. It had an aggressive opening lap. It still did not have the race pace required to fight for victory. And the reason had been visible throughout the season. Red Bull's problem was not power. It was downforce. That distinction is crucial. Power helps the car accelerate. Downforce pushes the car into the circuit. The greater the aerodynamic load, the more grip the tires can create. That allows the driver to brake later, turn faster, and accelerate earlier. A car can be fast in a straight line and still be slow over the lap. That was Red Bull's situation. The RB22 had been designed with a strong low-drag philosophy. Low drag means less resistance through the air. That helps maximum speed. It helps efficiency. It can make the car difficult to overtake on a straight. But reducing drag often means reducing aerodynamic load. And without enough load, the car loses grip through medium speed and high speed corners. Spa punishes that weakness. The circuit contains long straights, but it also demands confidence through loaded sections where the driver must trust that the car will remain stable. Red Bull looked strong when the road opened. It looked much weaker when Verstappen needed the car to turn and hold the surface. This is why the comparison with Racing Bulls was so revealing earlier in the season. Both teams used the same Red Bull powertrain's engine, yet the main Red Bull car ranked among the strongest in top speed. Racing Bulls sat closer to the middle of the speed rankings. Same engine family, different aerodynamic choices. That told analysts something important. The works Red Bull was not being rescued by an exceptional engine deficit. It was deliberately cutting drag. It was protecting straight line speed, and it was paying for that decision in the corners. The speed trap looked impressive. The lap time did not. This is where fans will be misled. Maximum speed measures 1 moment. Lap time measures the entire circuit. A car can reach a high number at the end of a straight after losing half a second before the straight even begins. Imagine 2 people running through a building. One person is incredibly fast in the hallway, but before every doorway, that person must slow almost to a walk. The other person is slightly slower in the hallway, but can move through every doorway without hesitation. At the end of the building, the smoother runner arrives first. Red Bull was fast in the hallway. Mercedes was fast through the complete building. Belgium repeated that pattern. Verstappen could attack the start. He could use the straight line efficiency. He could place the car well. But over a full race distance, the missing cornering grip returned. It always returned. And the second half of the race exposed it clearly. On the hard tire, Verstappen struggled with understeer. Understeer happens when the front tires do not create enough grip. The driver turns the steering wheel. The car does not rotate as much as expected. Instead of following the intended line, it pushes wider. This sounds simple. At Formula One speed, it changes everything. The driver must wait longer before accelerating. He may need to slow more before the apex. The front tires begin sliding. The slide creates heat. The heat reduces grip. Then the understeer becomes worse. The problem feeds itself. That was the limitation Verstappen faced. He wanted to attack Leclerc. He wanted to remain close to Antonelli. But the hard tire and the RB22's lack of front-end grip prevented him from applying enough pressure. The car would not turn as sharply as he needed. That meant weaker corner exits. Weaker exits meant the Red Bull could not use its straight-line advantage from the best possible starting point. This is a contradiction at the center of Red Bull's entire season. The car was designed to be efficient on the straight, but without enough cornering grip, it entered the straight too slowly. The advantage had already been damaged. That is why top speed alone could not save Verstappen. He needed momentum before the straight. He needed the front tires to hold. He needed a stable aerodynamic platform. He did not have enough of any of them. And Belgium was not the first warning. In China, Verstappen described the car as undrivable. No grip, no balance. A complete disaster in terms of pace. The largest losses appeared in the medium speed and high speed sections. In Japan, Red Bull struggled through the high speed SEs. Again, not a pure engine section. A direction change section. A section where the car must remain stable as the load moves from one side to the other. Then Verstappen admitted Red Bull was fighting in the midfield. That statement should have shocked everyone inside the team. Red Bull was no longer measuring itself against Mercedes. It was comparing its pace with Alpine. Later in Barcelona, Verstappen widened the criticism. High speed, medium speed, low speed. He said the team was losing everywhere. He described the cars as drifting. He said the tires were not providing grip. That was no longer one weak corner type. It was a complete foundation problem. The car did not give the tires a stable platform. Without that platform, every part of the lap became difficult. Braking, turning, acceleration, tire preservation, energy deployment. The driver was forced to compensate constantly. And when a driver compensates, the tires suffer. Small steering corrections create heat. Sliding at the rear creates heat. Waiting for the front to grip damages the rhythm. Then the driver pushes harder to recover lost time. The car slides again. The tires degrade more quickly. The race pace collapses. That explains why Red Bull could sometimes look competitive in qualifying. One lap can hide weakness. The tires only need to survive briefly. The driver can take greater risk. A tow can improve the straight line sections. Low fuel reduces some of the balance problems. But a race exposes everything. Fuel load changes the platform. Tires age. Wind shifts. Track temperature changes. The car must repeat its performance. That is where Red Bull fell away. Belgium followed the same pattern. Qualifying created hope. The race removed it. Verstappen's start showed that he could still create a moment. The next 30 laps showed that he could not make the moment last. That is why his comment after the race was so revealing. He said he gave everything. He did not say the car had hidden pace. He did not say victory was available with one small change. He accepted third place as a good result. For a driver used to fighting for championships, that is a major shift. A third place had become something to protect. That does not mean Verstappen had lost ambition. It means he understood the car's limit. And the virtual safety car made the result even more frustrating. Verstappen said both he and Antonelli were unlucky with the timing. Without that interruption, he believed he might have fought Leclerc for second. That point matters. The virtual safety car may have affected the exact finishing order. It did not create the entire 11-second gap. It did not explain the season-long deficit. It did not remove the understeer. It did not solve the missing downforce. Even in a cleaner race, Verstappen was talking about fighting for second, not controlling the victory. That is the true scale of Red Bull's fall. The team that once expected Verstappen to dominate now hoped for the chance to challenge Ferrari for second place. And this happened at Spa, a circuit where the low-drag philosophy should have helped. That should concern Red Bull more than almost any other result. Spa rewards straight-line efficiency. The Red Bull was built around that strength. Yet the complete race pace was still not enough. If the car cannot challenge Mercedes at a circuit that suits its most obvious advantage, where can it challenge? That question leads directly to the upgrade problem. Red Bull had already introduced a substantial package in Austria. The floor was revised. The floor edge changed. The rear suspension fairings were reshaped. The rear wing supports were modified. The side pods and radiator inlets were adjusted. The engine cover was reworked. The exhaust region was changed to improve local aerodynamic load. This was not a cosmetic update. Red Bull was trying to change how the airflow moved around and beneath the car. The floor is especially important. Modern Formula One cars generate a large amount of downforce underneath the chassis. Air passes through carefully shaped tunnels. Pressure changes pull the car toward the road. When the floor works correctly, the team can create grip without relying entirely on larger wings. That means more downforce with less drag. Exactly what Red Bull needed. But the floor only works inside a precise operating window. Ride height matters. Pitch matters. Roll matters. Curbs matter. Wind matters. If the car moves outside that window, the airflow can become unstable. The downforce can disappear suddenly. The driver feels the rear move. The front loses confidence. The tires slide. And the car becomes unpredictable. Red Bull's upgrades were designed to improve those interactions.